Hey class, today's lesson is going to be all about subtracting integers. So you might remember hearing when you subtract integers, we add the opposite. And so that's what we're going to focus on anytime we're subtracting integers. For some reason, our brains just would prefer to add. So it's easier for us to think about addition than it is to think about subtraction. So here's your steps. I want you to change the subtraction sign to addition and change the sign of the second number to the opposite sign. Then follow the rules for adding integers. So in short, I want you to add the opposite. So let's do a couple examples. Here I have 2 minus 5. So I want you to change it. Instead of 2 minus 5, I'm going to change the subtraction to an addition and then change the positive 5 to a negative. So it'll be 2 plus negative 5. And then use your rules for adding integers. So then I have 2 positives plus 5 negatives. You take when the signs are different, you subtract. So 5 take away 2 is 3, and then it's going to be negative 3 since there are more negatives. The 5 was bigger, there's more negatives, so you end up with a negative answer. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. 3 minus negative 10 becomes 3 plus 10. Anytime I see 2 negatives in a row like that, I always connect them and make it an addition. So 2 negatives make a positive. So when you subtract a negative, you add a positive. So it becomes 3 plus 10, which is all positive, so add regularly is 13. Negative 5 minus 1, we're going to change the subtraction to addition, and then the positive 1 to a negative 1. So it'll be negative 5 plus negative 1. So adding the opposite. So we change the subtraction into addition and then add a negative with the 1. And then just like you added 3 plus 10 is 13, the signs are the same. Negative 5 and negative 1 added together make negative 6. So when the signs are the same, you have just a total 5 negatives and 1 more negative. Nothing cancels, you don't take anything away, so you just add the total and get negative 6. Negative 7 minus 3 will be negative 7 plus negative 3. So change the subtraction into addition and then make the sign of the one opposite. So it was positive, so now it becomes negative. Again, the signs are the same. We have 7 negatives plus 3 more negatives is a total of 10 negatives. 6 minus 18. So it's 6 minus positive 18. So we're going to change that into 6 plus negative 18. And then the signs are different, so you're going to subtract and keep the sign of the bigger one. Since 18 is negative and bigger, I know my answer will be negative in the end. 18 minus 6 is 12. So it'll be negative 12. You can use your integer counters. Positive 6 and then negative 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 18, there's more negatives. That's why our answer is negative. These match up to make 0. These are all pairs. So a negative and a positive make 0. And then there are 12 left over. So 18 take away 12 is negative 12. 18, negative 18 plus 6. 18 take away 6, I meant. All right. Again, the best way to get better at this is just to keep practicing. So let's do a few more. Negative 3 minus negative 5. So remember, when you see 2 negatives in a row like this, you can change that to a plus. So negative 3 minus negative 5 is negative 3 plus positive 5. So you add the opposite. So two negatives in a row, change that to a plus. Then the integer rules for adding. You're adding, the signs are different, so you find the difference between these two numbers. The difference between 5 and 3 is 2. 3, 4, 5. So you count up, or 5 minus 3. The answer is 2. It's positive 2 because 5 is positive and 5 is bigger. You can use your integer counter still too, though. Positive 5 and negative 3 is positive 2. 8 minus 10 will be the same thing as 8 plus negative 10. So changing it to adding the opposite. And then the signs are different again. So the difference between 8 and 10 is 2. 8, 9, 10. And it's negative, the negative one is bigger. So our answer should be negative 2. So I had 8 positives, and then I had 10 negatives, and those simplify, so there's 2 left over. So 10 take away 8 is 2, and it's negative, there's more negatives. Negative 7 minus 4 can be rewritten as negative 7 plus negative 4. So subtracting is the same thing as adding the opposite. Now you have all negatives. This is 7 negatives and 4 negatives, so a total of negative 11. If you were to use your counters, it would be 7 negatives and 4 more negatives, so none cancel, so a total of negative 11. 2 negatives in a row again, so we can change that to a plus. So this should be negative 1 plus 9. So anytime we have a minus a negative, we change that to plus a positive. So 2 negatives in a row make a plus sign. Then negative 1 plus 9 is the same thing as 9 minus 1. So they have different signs, so you find the difference between them. The difference between 1 and 9 is 8. It's positive because 9 is bigger and 9 was positive. Remember the order of operations? We talked about PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, and subtract. Let's do a few PEMDA examples, so using our order of operations with some examples that include integers. So in the first example here, we have an addition and a multiplication. Multiplication comes first in our order of operations, so we would want to do this 4 times 2, and 4 times 2 is 8. So we're going to have negative 3 plus 8. And then using our integer rules, we're adding. And the difference, we have to find the difference between 3 and 8 since they're different signs. And that's 5, and it's going to be positive 5 because 8 is bigger and it's positive. So 8 minus 3 is 5, essentially. All right. In this one, we're going to want to do the division first according to PEMDAS. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. And then we have addition and subtraction. And so if you have those in the same step, you want to work from left to right. So you want to do 1 minus 5 first. You can use your rule of subtraction, change that to 1 plus negative 5, and then plus 6. Then 1 plus negative 5, different signs. So the difference between 1 and 5 is 4, and it's going to be negative 4 because the 5 is bigger. Then negative 4 plus 6, different signs. So find the difference between them is between 4 and 6 is 2, and it's positive because 6 is bigger. And this one, we're going to multiply before we subtract. 2 times 2 is 4. Then we have 4 minus 10. Change a subtraction into 4 plus negative 10. So adding the opposite. And then we have 4 positives and 10 negatives. So the different signs, the difference between 10 and 4 is 6. And then it's negative 6 because 10 is negative, and so you have more negatives left. Okay, your turn. Try a few on your own.